All right, boys and girls, what's up? It's your boy BQ. This is the Impact Lounge, the number one place to be for the Impact Wrestling fan. And this is your 2021 Bound for Glory review. TW is not with me right now. This is solo. So it's not really a cool factor podcast. It is just me reviewing Bound for Glory for the Impact Lounge. So last time I did a solo review, though, I did mention that there's a couple partners and sponsors that Impact Lounge will be working with going forward. Those will come to light later. But going forward, in every description of every Impact Lounge video is the Amazon affiliate link. So when you're doing your holiday shopping this morning, consider clicking a link, do your shopping, and it'll kick back a little bit towards the lounge, and that's going to help with some of the promotion costs and some of the software and apps that we use to run the channel. So let's get into Bound for Glory 2021. I've seen some mixed reactions on this show. Uh, my overall opinion, of course, I want to read your guys' opinion. My overall opinion is that it was a good show. I've seen very mixed reactions. I feel like the majority of the people have enjoyed it from what I've seen on social media, and there's some people who didn't. And the reasons for not enjoying it, very, very valid. Now, the number one thing that I think did hurt the pay per view was that they did tease big things happening and big names showing up, and we know that there's some big free agents out there. Now, Slammiversary is usually that pay per view where they bring guys in or guys and girls, they debut them or whatever the case may be. That's where we know there's going to be surprises. And now they're starting to, market Bound for Glory a little bit like, hey, there's going to be surprises there too. Now, the difference between the two shows is that this year during Slammiversary, the free agent crop wasn't all that big. It wasn't all that impressive. Like last year, it was. This Slammiversary season, it wasn't that great, but they did a good job with the debuts that they had. Right now, there's some pretty hot free agents out there. There's some big names that could possibly move the needle a little bit for Impact. And people were expecting to see those names show up, namely Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, even on a smaller level, Bronson Reed. These were some of the names where people thinking we could see. Buddy Murphy was another one. I would say just about anyone who watched this show who's an Impact fan felt like one of those four would show up. And I'll even take Bronson Reed out of the picture because he's not as popular as the other three. But between Braun, Bray, and Buddy, three Bs, right? People were pretty confident that one of these individuals was going to show up. And not only did we not get two or three, we didn't get one. We didn't get any of them. I think more information is going to come to light, and we're going to see what happens when they start when the dirt sheets and everything start reporting on this. But they did say that they reached out to several names and they did try to get names to show up, and it fell through for whatever reason. So that you have to ask yourself, is Impact promoting before knowing what the ultimate, the end result's going to be? Now, if you think of last year's Slammiversary promotion in particular, and a little bit of this one too, they did tease some names that did not show up. And I don't know this for sure, but it almost feels like they don't even know who's going to show up. It's like, let's just tease everybody and see what the hell happens. And guess what happened? Nothing. So I think that took the wind out of the sail a little bit for a lot of the fans watching this show. That's why you have to be very careful when you tease surprises, promise surprises, because people start having expectations. And when you don't meet those expectations, when you overpromise and underdeliver, it can go very, very bad for you. Now, me personally, I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the aesthetics of it. I thought it looked great. I thought it sounded great. I wish every Impact audience looked like this on television or sounded like this. Now, granted, this is Bound for Glory. It's a pay-per-view. That's not going to happen. But if we had that size crowd for every episode on television, I think people would be talking about Impact a lot different and looking at it a lot different because it changed the feeling of the show. So I enjoyed hearing a pretty engaged audience. I liked, me. I liked ditching the red overkill. I think everything looks a lot better blue. I don't have a problem with red. The Clippers are red. Clippers are blue, also, I guess you could say, but I don't have a problem with red. It's the overkill. I thought the cooler color just made a better viewing experience. But I thought the presentation, I just thought everything looked good. I thought it felt big. I thought the arena looked really, really nice. I remember I don't remember what the last couple Bound for Glories looked like, but I know because I was at the Chicago one, but and then last year I guess was empty arena, right? But that year they did it in New York, and that looked like an episode of Impact. So it's common for some of their pay-per-views. Hard to Kill was like that. Hard to Kill was my favorite pay-per-view of 2021. It looked like an episode of Impact. Felt like an episode of Impact for the most part. It's just the matches were a lot better. So the experience for me as a viewer was a lot better. I enjoyed it a lot. So first match of the evening was the Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. This was the Inspiration versus Decay. I thought this was the right match to kick off the show with. Most people are going to say, okay, I'd rather see the X Division first, or maybe the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. They did that first, I know, a couple years ago. I don't remember about last year, and I think that's a good way to start a show. No, not last year, because they kicked it off with that Madman Fulton, what's his fuck, atrocity, Ken Shamrock. So I thought this was the right way to do it because the lights completely went out and then the music dropped and the crowd ate it up. To start it off with debuting stars was really, really smart in my opinion. I saw this music video online the day of Bound for Glory, the day before, and I was like, wow, this song sucks. But when the presentation within their entrance and the artist who was out there. Now I follow the artist on Instagram. I just don't remember her name. She clearly wasn't singing live, but just the way that it felt big. It felt like for lack of better term, like a WrestleMania entrance. So I thought it was a great way to start the show, and I thought that the promo was unneeded. I thought it was unnecessary, and I didn't think it was good. But everything else was cool. Then Decay comes out. Uh, I didn't like I shouldn't say that. I didn't love the match. It was just an okay match. It was just a match you watch on Impact. That's all I'm saying. It wasn't a, you know, uh, knockout drag down knockouts match that we're gonna be talking about for ages. It was just a match. The inspiration is a little more comedy than I think I would like. I know they kind of have that a little bit in WWE. Now, I hadn't really seen them since they were in NXT and they were more like developmental talent before they even changed their names. But I always kind of liked them. I knew there was a little bit of a comedy element to what they did. I was hoping they were going to show up in Impact and be a little more serious. And as I've said on the last couple podcasts, I'm really curious to see how their dynamic with the influence on the show. I feel like they're similar characters, similar gimmicks. I guess we'll see once Inspiration is actually on TV on a week to week basis how similar they really are. I don't think anyone thought Decay was going to win this match. I'm sure lots of people wanted Decay to win the match. I don't think anyone thought they were actually going to win when you have the Inspiration debut tag team title match. Impact TNA has been doing this for years. Someone showing up for WWE from WWE and winning a championship their first night in the company. They haven't done it in a little while, but they did do it here, and I think most people felt that that's what was going to happen, and it was what happened. So the Inspiration are the new tag team champions. Again, not the best match in the world. There were some sloppy spots. It looked like Havoc might have tweaked her knee a little bit. There was the missed leg drop spot where one of the Inspiration rolled towards her before she was ready for it, and she kind of tripped over her. But there was a little bit of slop in this match. But overall, it was good enough. I'll put it like that. But they are the new tag team champions. Oddly enough, I'm not going to get too much in the interview segments, but Gia Miller interviewed Deanna Prazo backstage and Matthew Raywall. It was okay. It was a Deanna Prazo promo, but it was cool. It's what it was. X Division championship match. So, well, I guess speaking of championships, I didn't watch the pre-show, so I did not see the digital media championship match. I'll probably try to go back and watch it when I have some time. I watched Bound for Glory this morning at about 6:30 a.m. Last night was a little late for me, and I have to be up too early in the morning, so I just stayed off social media. and I watched the pay per view this morning. Didn't watch the digital media match. They haven't really given me a reason to care to watch it, but I'll check it out. It was my prediction that Jordan Grace would win, and she did. X Division title match: El Phantasmo versus Steve Macklin, one of my faves, and then Trey Miguel. Speaking of entrances, like I did in the opening match, love Trey's entrance, love his music. I did not like the Rascals, but I really like Trey Miguel a lot, and I love how they just tweaked his character. And this X Division title match was really really good. It was a three-way match. Usually they really want to blow their load and put as many people in the match, give you a six-way or an ultimate X or something. I'm glad they kind of kept it to three. I would prefer one-on-one. I've said that numerous times. I can live with the three-way match. This was so good, and they did a really good job because Steve Macklin doesn't necessarily have the X Division style, but they really factored his style into the match where it made so much sense. Like it really worked. The three styles really meshed together perfectly, and the right person won. Trey Miguel won. He should 100% have won this match and be the next X Division champion. Well, I guess he is the X Division champion now. And going forward, this is one of the guys you got to build around. He's in that group of Josh Alexander, him obviously, Chris Bay, Ace Austin, Jake something, which Jake something wasn't even on this pay per view. They couldn't even get him in the digital media championship match. Couldn't even get him in a call your shot gauntlet match. It seems like he's regulated to before the impact to BTI, and that really sucks because he's one of the dudes I think that they can do something with, and they choose to do nothing. So they were making Jake something, Jake nothing. But this match, really, really enjoyed it, and really happy that Trey Miguel got the win because they couldn't go, in my opinion, they couldn't go any further without putting a belt on this dude. It's time to give him a title reign. This is the right opportunity for it, and we'll see what kind of champion he is. I think he's going to be one of those. I mean, I guess all the baby faces say it, but he's probably going to be one of those fighting champions. There's probably going to be a lot of really good X Division title matches going forward. Violent by Design, Joe Doring and Diener, they took on Heath, hoping Rhino would show up. I predicted kind of what happened here. I said, Heath is probably going to get his butt kicked and then Rhino's going to come save him. I thought Heath was going to lose the match more so, and then Rhino would show up after the match. He shows up during the match. And the way the build was, where Rhino wasn't sure if he was going to show up, and then today he looked like a Make-A-Wish kid out there, it makes me wonder if this was a spot for Buddy Murphy or for Bronson Reed, who Bronson Reed was the one they said was booked for Bound for Glory, and that he got unbooked. So I don't know what happened with that. But I can't help but to think maybe this was a spot for a debut, and because it didn't work out, that's why they inserted Rhino, and I think that's why Rhino was a mystery partner. They easily could have said, "Hey, Rhino's your tag team partner." I feel like when Heath asked for the match, they did kind of present it as it would be him and Rhino, but I think they did it to protect themselves. It's possible that they were trying to use a surprise partner and then factor Rhino into it later, but because the guy didn't show up, Rhino was the backup plan to actually go out there. This match wasn't very good, but it was good enough for me. Again, I liked the show top to bottom. There was nothing I hated about this match. It was just a unnecessary Impact style match. Rhino comes in, hits the gore, gets the win. I got to give him props for the Uncle Rhino shirt. That's the best piece of merchandise marketing they have done I think, since I started covering the damn company. So really good on them for that. So after that, what do we have? The Call Your Shot Gauntlet. I was at the first Call Your Shot Gauntlet, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought, as far as being in the arena, it's a cool match, and just, you know, it's their Royal Rumble in a sense. It hasn't meant what the Royal Rumble means. It's meant almost nothing. But this time they had a little bit more star power in it. Where this really disappointed was in the surprises. The first surprise was Rocky Romero, which is a great surprise. I hope that he sticks around for a little bit, gets some X Division matches in there, maybe even gets an X Division title shot with Trey Miguel. I think it would be in their best interest to keep him around for a bit. They teased him maybe being in it last year, and that didn't happen. So I think a lot of us felt he was going to show up on Impact programming at some point due to his connection with the Good Brothers. Um, the other one was Melina, which we've already seen Melina on Impact Television, but I guess she was cool to have pop up, as they continue working closely with the NWA. And then the Demon, who I guess is from WCW. Like I don't Kiss Demon. I don't really recall him. I'm not familiar with him at all. I was pretty disappointed in that. And again, maybe he was a backup. I don't know that anyone in the crowd knew who he was. And he was in the match entirely too long. Like Rocky Romero wasn't even in the match that long. Rocky got eliminated very unceremoniously. A couple guys did. Laredo Kid, like a couple of these dudes were just tossed like pieces of trash who should have competed longer. The Demon was in this match way too long. Uh, the way he was eliminated was, I mean, awful. But they, I knew something like this was going to happen because they had Swoggle in the last couple. So I'm glad it wasn't him, but I was pretty sure there was going to be something ridiculous like that, and there absolutely was. But I thought the gauntlet was cool. Moose ultimately wins this thing. I picked Morrissey. I said Morrissey or Swan or Moose, but I was leaning towards Morrissey because number one won the last 2 years. I was like, someone who draws 20 needs to win. Moose drew 18, I believe. I think it was 18. Alicia Edwards might have been 19. Something like that. Eddie Edwards was kind of a surprise in this. I wasn't really expecting him to come out there, but it's weird. They wouldn't book Bound for Glory without Eddie Edwards. I mean, come on. Um, Moose wins this thing, and I think he was the right person looking back. At the time, I'm not going too far in the future. When he won, I was like, yo, this is one of the guys who needed to win. I thought it was going to be Morrissey, Moose, and Rich Swann as the last three. But Chris Sabin was in there in the last four, and it looks like they're going to build towards something with him and Ace Austin. But speaking of Ace Austin, weren't they teasing something with Christopher Daniels too, with him? I was watching Bound for Glory, and I was like, I felt like they were trying to go that direction of Ace versus Christopher Daniels in Bound for Glory. Guess they didn't. Um, what do we got next? After I thought Rohit Raju looked really good in this. I thought he shined. Um, what else we got? Sorry, I'm scrolling, looking at the results. So the Impact World Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers, took on Finjuice and Bullet Club. This wasn't a match I was looking forward to. I thought it was better than I had expected it would be. They love these multi-man tag team matches, and the tag team division is too shallow to keep doing this. You know, when I watched WWE consistently back in the days, they loved doing this. Like they couldn't just give you a one-on-one tag team match at a pay-per-view, which as frequently as they do pay-per-views, there's no reason not to. I think AEW does a good job with it of just giving a champion one contender at a time. But Impact clearly sees this. We got to get Finjuice on there. We got to get the Bullet Club on there. I thought this feud would have really told its own story and built itself if it was the Good Brothers versus the Bullet Club. I didn't think Finjuice's inclusion was necessary, but it's whatever. They were in the match. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I was disappointed with the winners. I was disappointed that the Good Brothers won. They weren't even at the last set of tapings. They just were doing these promos that I didn't really enjoy. It's just odd. You Chris Bay. They say top selling shirt in Impact, top Impact right now. Bullet Club, one of the most famous factions in wrestling. This is the junior version of it. As far as Hikuleu and Chris Bay and El Phantasmo. But the Bullet Club is so popular, and you would just think the Impact would put the title on the Bullet Club, and Chris Bay, who's one of the few guys that has a little bit of momentum behind him. So I really didn't expect this. I thought the Good Brothers title run has kind of run its course, but apparently they're going to keep holding the belts for longer. I don't expect the Good Brothers to be an Impact past Slammiversary. I think they are out of here to AEW as soon as those contracts are up. So we'll see, but we're definitely getting more Good Brothers as the champions. But the match was a little better than I expected it to be. Just very disappointed with the outcome. The Knockouts Championship match, Deonna Perazo versus Mickie James, one of the better matches on the card. Mickie James did an interview with Gia Miller, which was excellent, real effing good. And Gia Miller is getting so much better because she was not good when she first started doing these backstage interviews, and she's starting to show so much more personality. She's loosening up a way that I always say I want D'Lo to loosen up on commentary a little, where it's not robotic, it's not rehearsed. Like that's how Gia Miller was, and she has really. I had said when BTI started, and I knew she was one of the hosts, that I hope that show and her hosting gig within that show was going to give her an opportunity to just like let her hair down a little bit, get comfortable in front of the camera, comfortable talking with talent, and I think that's really helped her a lot. So she's been doing a really good job. But Mickie James' interview with her was effing excellent. But the Knockouts Championship match, I all the way up to Bound for Glory, I had picked Mickie James to win this thing because I was thinking, okay, this is Impact Wrestling we're talking about. Got a former Knockouts champion, former knockout. Like, there's no way they don't blow their load and put the belt on her. Like, I think they would have put the belt on Taylor Wilde, and but for whatever reason, she's been in and out of the tapings, probably having to do with her shoot job. But I think they definitely would have put the belt on Taylor Wilde. Like, they were dying to put it on a former knockout. But they end up throwing it on Mickie James. Mickie won the match. As I was saying, I thought she was gonna win until this past Impact and the promos that they did and the angle. I was like, I think it's gonna be Deonna. I also said they're not. They at least one champion is gonna retain. They never do a clean sweep of the championship belts. So because I thought the Good Brothers were gonna lose, that the Bullet Club was gonna win, that's what made me change my mind. I was like, you know what, Deonna's gonna retain. So I didn't see this coming. I wish Deonna hadn't lost the belt to Sue Young at last Bound for Glory. So she's now what, over 2 at Bound for Glory. I had that was a Bound for Glory, right? Not Slammiversary. But I was hoping that I wish going back they didn't have her drop the belt to Sue. That she just was a champion all this time. Now it would have benefited more for a younger knockout to ultimately beat her. But Impact clearly couldn't help themselves of putting the belt on Mickie James, who to my knowledge, is not a contracted talent. She's not a contracted NWA either. I think she's just doing both shows. And I guess that's just what wrestling is in 2021 and beyond. I did expect this match to be a little better, like kick it into one more gear. But it was definitely after the X Division match and the world title match, best match on the show. So, third best match on the show. And I'm curious to see what Mickie James does as the champion. She wins with the DDT. One of my kicks lately is the finishers. No cool finishers on the show. No cool names for the finishers. Multiple finishers. I mean, let's put it like this. Moose wins, or not before Moose. Rhino wins the VVD versus Heath and Rhino match with the spear. The next match is the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, where Moose wins with the spear. We're gonna see the spear again this episode. But yeah, Mickie James wins with the DDT. She's one of 4 people who use a DDT on Impact Television, and that doesn't even include Tommy Dreamer. And then the world title match. Oh, they did announce a Hard to Kill will be coming to Dallas, Texas, January 8th. I did initially want to go to Bound for Glory. I decided against it at the last moment because I didn't want to do the travel. Dallas is a little closer to me, so stay tuned. I might go to that. I don't know. Hard to Kill was a pay-per-view I really loved this year, so we shall see. They didn't tease any graphics from other companies or anything like that. So now that you don't have those AEW names, it's going to be interesting to see how they market these shows. So world title match, Christian Cage versus Josh Alexander. I think this is everything we expected it to be. I had gone on record and said I didn't really care for the video packages that Josh Alexander was doing and everything. They were well put together. He was well spoken, but I didn't think they connected with the audience. That was just my whole thing. But the match was good. I did not expect a tap out win So everyone, it's like, oh, AEW, they don't, this Forbidden Door, they don't lose. He lost, and he lost via tap out. Didn't see that coming. People haven't tapped out to the fucking ankle lock in forever. This was supposed to be the Kenny Omega spot. We wish it was Kenny Omega and that Josh Alexander would have got that big rub, but that didn't happen. And Christian Cage is ultimately the one who came in. He did a good job as champion, drops the belt. And the moment after where his wife came in, Jade Chung, I don't know why they don't sign her as a knockout. I have no idea, because she's already done other work with the company with Twitch and everything. And her son, or their son, I should say, they showed him at ringside. They came in. It was all emotional. Now, this is an area where people are like, a lot of individuals were upset about what happened, and some thought it was good. I thought it was effing perfect. And what is that? It was Moose calling his shot and winning the world title with the spear. So that was how many matches we get on this? 8, 7 or 8. 3 ended with a spear. I will say the opening match though, I really like the finisher by the Inspiration. I should throw that out there. So if I'm gonna go off on bad finishers, I gotta give love to the good one. So I thought that was a good one. So Moose wins this thing. I thought it was perfect because I watched it about 5 times back and forth, like every winding. And I said the video package of Josh Alexander just didn't connect with me. He connected with me this time when he won the title and he had the emotion and the wife and the kid and everyone is emotional. And then when Moose gives him the dollar store trophy and the look of shock over his face and he's getting his family out of the ring, turns around and takes a spear, like, you have now added a level of sympathy to Josh Alexander that didn't exist before. That's why I said it was perfect. He was just a wrestler who did wrestling moves and had great matches before. That's all that was. He's never been involved in a good storyline. Even when he was with the North, it was just all about matches. Like there was really not a captivating storyline, at least for my taste. I didn't think that this build with Christian Swan, I don't know why I said that, Christian Cage was the best in the world, but I just wasn't connecting with him emotionally. And this whole segment, if you go back and watch it, and just the expressions on the face and everything, it really helped you to connect with his character. And now he's going to chase. You can never give someone, how can I word this? Someone can only win their first singles title once, or the first world title once. So we can't replicate this moment. It's going to be impossible. So when he wins that second title, it's not going to have that level of emotion. But hopefully, the way that I think this connected with people, and that the chase back to the title, hopefully that really works for him. My biggest concern with this is that Moose is going to be a transitional champion. People have been wanting him to be a champion for a long time, the world champion for a long time. My concern is that he's going to be a transitional champion, because who is he going to feud with? Josh Alexander, right? Josh isn't going to lose, I wouldn't think. I would have to believe Josh takes the title off him at some point. But if I know Impact, that title match could happen a lot sooner than it needs to. So it worries me that Moose is going to be a transitional champion. I know W. Morrissey's contract ran out after Bound for Glory. He's saying he wanted to stay. I wonder if they split him up. I don't know, because I like the alliance between the two of them. But I personally liked the end of the show. I know there's a lot of people who didn't. I know it upset people. But again, I think it just created a level of sympathy that did not exist with Josh Alexander before. So for me, overall, this pay-per-view was good. It was solid. There was a couple matches that were matches you would watch on Impact. There were some people involved in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet that didn't need to be involved. But overall, I thought it was a cool show. I enjoyed it. There really wasn't much to complain about for me. I enjoyed watching Bound for Glory. Bound for Glory is never as good as Slammiversary. Never, 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 never. It just isn't. They don't know how to do that for whatever reason. But it was cool. That's going to do it for me, though. That is your Bound for Glory review 2021. Thanks for checking me out. I hope you consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already, because it's the Impact Lounge and it is the number one place to be for the Impact Wrestling fan. Don't let anybody tell you different. I'm your boy BQ. I'm out. Peace.